We're here with Pat, Global Director of Media at Xero. Xero is an accounting software company which has gone global. And really what we're going to try and learn from you today, Pat, is what is Xero doing to become a media company? Is it already a media company? And if not, how far away are you? And what's going to be tough about it? So just tell me where Xero is at today with becoming a media company.
First and foremost, we're storytellers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that we are a media company. I guess if you want to drop us into a hat with a bunch of people that create all their content from end to end, and that's the definition of a media company, then I guess we're that. But I'd much prefer to call us a storytelling company. When you think about Xero as an organisation, we try to live our values as much as we can. And I've worked with lots of big brands around the world, and having come here, really, you see the difference between organisations that live their brands and live their values and sort of espouse their values but don't really live up to them. I think we're one of those companies, in my opinion, having had that bunch of experience with different brands, that we really live those values.
Mm-hmm.
So increasingly, I think from a brand perspective and as it relates to content, we see brand expression being this inside-out thing that we all believe in, that we're all committed to. It's founded on our values, that aligns to where we're going as a company, that aligns to the stories that we want to tell, and then eventually we express all of that as content.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're a media company.
If you think about yourself as a TV channel, and I know that Xero in the past used to have xero.com/TV, so you actually had a TV channel where the videos lived. I don't know if that works or not. It would be good to hear your view on that. But secondarily is to go, if you think of yourself as a TV channel, that means that there is a thread. There's always stuff being played. You can turn the channel on and then you're just involved, right? There's a thread. So as a media company, without fake news, how are you creating the thread for your audience to follow? How do they keep up to date with what's next, and how do you link between all the different clips you make?
The thread that connects everything for us is the customer journey. We go back to looking at what problems is our product solving for our customers, and then how do we create content that demonstrates our ability to do that, but in a really creative way.
Mm-hmm.
What are the spaces that we play in doing that, and then what is a really cool format or piece of content that could work there. So, we know that people are coming because they want an accounting solution. That's why they come to Xero. But we also acknowledge that as a small business, man, you've got a whole raft of challenges that you face day in, day out. Everything from cash flow to getting people to pay their invoices, to payroll, to stock management, everything. So we realize that small businesses play an integral part of the economies that they live and exist in, but it's real tough to be a small business.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we think about, as well as the table stakes stuff, which we do in a unique way, but we think about also at each stage in their customer journey, how we can address kind of the other problems that they face.
Mm-hmm.
So, top of funnel, one of the initiatives that we're looking at right now, is just to reinvent our YouTube channel solely as a how-to channel for small business.
Mm.
And, we've done a whole bunch of work with Google and YouTube to identify the most searched and highly searched terms on both Google and YouTube, categorized all that stuff, and now we're just into producing hundreds of pieces of high-value content that's going to help those businesses solve their problem. Has it worked in the past? Nah, probably not as well as it should have.
Mm-hmm.
It became like this repository for all your stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people have experienced.
Oh,
and
I think so.
A clear reason for that journey. Then, if you think of that top of funnel experience with small business how-to, when I get them to my own channel, it gives me a greater context to engage them with.
Mm-hmm.
So I can give my own channel, my Xero TV channel, a stronger reason for being that
mm-hmm.
next stage on that education journey, a journey of helping them solve their problems as small business operators, but on our platform. Mm-hmm. We can start addressing things that are more specific to the financial health and well-being of their mm-hmm. business. And then if we get them in there, we build enough trust with build enough credibility inside of that experience, and we get to a point where it becomes obvious that our product, and there's no hard sell in any of this, but our product is a natural answer to the problem that you're trying to solve in that regard. So build that trust, build that love, build that credibility up front, and get them into our product eventually, but not trying to do that too quickly when we use video as the format of engagement.
Yeah, no, that's cool, because I think in terms of the vision of everyone's trying to be a media company or as you say, a content company, is that you're going to have this entire YouTube channel which has got nothing to do with your product. It's actually just stories about how small business works, tips and tricks, all these other things, which is that you're creating all of this entertainment with education attached to it, to say this is the sphere that we help you in, and part of it is there's a product you can buy off us if you'd like to, but there's no impetus to it. It's like it's in some ways strategically saying we own this space now, because we're putting in a huge amount of effort to just put the proper useful content out there, and kind of strategically, if you were to think about it from a business perspective, it means that you're taking the oxygen out of that space for someone else to do it. So if you think about a competitor, we won't name names, but if you think about a competitor trying to do the same thing, if you're steps ahead, they've got a very large job to do to then overtake you in that area, and almost your content strategy becomes a product all of itself. That YouTube channel will become a very valuable product, and as you say, it becomes an acquisition channel, but it's actually something completely different. So can you just jump?
Because even YouTube is anybody that knows YouTube would say that you're setting yourself up for failure if one of your KPIs for your YouTube channel is driving referrals to your own website, right? Because the whole YouTube experience is not one that's really, it's one that's sort of designed to keep people in YouTube as opposed to get them out. But what we do find is that people that we are able to get to our platform from YouTube convert at a higher percentage of trials than anybody else on the other channel. Certainly, we go big on the number of social channels, both organic and paid activity. But our conversion rate is a lot higher through YouTube because of engagement with the high value content in a manner that you suggest. So happy to try and take the oxygen out of that space, but also to explore it further with some more scale and some high quality content.
Yeah, no, that's a good strategy. I think there is a lot of fear that if you can't literally create a click path for somebody to become a customer, then they don't become a customer. But I think that's kind of underselling what that person is capable of. If they come and watch a 10-minute video produced by you guys and it says made by Xero, and then they watch another one, and then they watch another one, and then they watch something else, and I mean, it's not hard for them to just type in Xero.com and just end up with...
Marketers always think about attribution, right?
Yeah.
Like attribution models are fraught for inbound content because then you have to have, multi-touch attribution model to understand, what percentage you can attribute to the video that you made. I mean, that's a really linear kind of dumbass way of looking at it when you look at the way that, content is distributed now, right? And there's this distributed model. And they're going to get, my YouTube stuff, but they're also going to get other stuff through our Facebook channel. They're also going to get other stuff on blogs. They're going to see they're engaged with content on our PR, and on our PR as a result of our PR activity. So that whole distributed model of people engage with content, where they engage with it, and it all plays a role. Certainly you can attract that, but if you're right now trying to split hairs on direct attribution for the video and what percentage of that you can attribute to your video, therefore how much budget you should have to play with on the production of your videos, that's just right now that's a silly game to play out.
Yeah.
Cut off some dough, go big or go home.
There we go. That's going to be my intro clip. How do we get into this video game? What should we be doing? And it sounds like there's a couple of things at play. One is that you're making videos specifically for jobs, which is this is how this thing works. This is how other people are doing this thing. This is how this feature works. This is a case study of how a customer succeeded with doing this type of thing. That's kind of one piece, and you can target them at people depending on what activity they do. But then the piece above that, which I think is what you're talking about on your YouTube channel, is that you're just simply creating a space to talk about the greater problems of the customer that buy your product for a part of that problem. And so I think that's something that I'd love to hear more from you about, is to go, you make a widget and it fits this little problem, but the problem sphere is like this. How do you turn yourself into a content company that talks about this the whole time?
Yeah, well, let's just do it, right? Let's think of a product. Here's a product.
Okay, well, let's think about a company that makes bikes, right? They're a new company that make electric bikes, and they have a factory. They've got a Facebook channel. They've got Twitter. A few hundred followers. They want to get some more customers, and they're thinking, okay, we do videos about how our bikes work.
Yeah.
What do we do about the world of biking?
Yeah, exactly. So the first question I would start with in that regard is like, so what is the space that you want to own? What is that share of mind space that you want to own in the minds and the hearts of your customers? Mm-hmm. And so let's go after that. And, if it's electric bikes, I don't know anybody that's got an electric bike store, but maybe you're like, you're just going after, it's an eco angle. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's a lifestyle angle, maybe it's a get outdoors angle, whatever it is, but it sounds like it's definitely a lifestyle angle. Mm-hmm. So let's identify, what are the pillars of this lifestyle that people engage with around, the use of electric bikes. What are the other values that the value systems and ethos that they buy into? Mm-hmm. Let's understand all those emotional triggers, right, that get them to relate to the space, that takes them to the point where potentially they want to part with, like, e-bikes are expensive, right? So it's a major purchase, like $3,000 to $5,000.
Right. So
let's understand all those emotional triggers first as a way of landscaping the space that you want to own. Mm-hmm. And then let's design, once we have an understanding of that space, let's design our content strategy and our approach around that. But in understanding that emotive space and understanding the emotional space, also reconcile against that, what does that mean for your brand? And where do those two things overlap? Mm-hmm. And actually, what does the data out there say about that as well? Mm-hmm. So you've got that emotional space, you've got that brand space, you've got that data space, and then where does your product live inside of that? And I think the intersection of those four areas in the middle is potentially the magic spot, is the sweet spot of the content that you create. Mm-hmm. Because then that gives you that truly unique, truly ownable content narrative that you can have inside of that world of all those other, I don't know what it is, Tesla or whoever else is operating in that space, right? Yeah. And organic farms. But if you can reconcile those little things and find that sweet spot in the middle of that, then that's probably the spot that you can own inside of the way that you do business, your business, and your content strategy. Then it becomes, okay, you understand what the sweet spot is, then it becomes about creative, right? Mm-hmm. Then it becomes about, okay, how do we bring this to life in the most creative way that we think is going to engage our customers, and that's really where that creative becomes a multiplier with everything else that you do after that, right? Mm-hmm. So the quality of your creative, like the channels you use, all the Facebook channels, all the social channels, all of that sort of kind of like incremental, gain. The multiplier effect is how great your content is. Mm-hmm. So my next piece of advice for that bike shop would be, like, really invest in creating what you think are going to be some really great ideas, some really great creative, so that when you do go to spend your money, because understand that you do have to spend money to get engagement, right? You do have to spend money. Don't think that you can do it organically. Just lump it, man. Just understand that you have to spend money to get optimal engagement and distribution of your content, so that when you do spend money, that creative becomes a multiplier, and that it's not, this cost that you're trying to get incremental gains or recover back inside of whatever drops out the bottom of the funnel. Because the thing that I hate about the funnel is like that, right? funnel sucks for that. I hate the funnel. Pouring everything out the top and shit drops out the bottom. I want my funnel to look like
Yeah.
this. Creative, right? If creative is the point of that funnel, and it's the point where those ideas and that sweet spot meet, then that's what should happen. Like that's what we're gonna hope, as content creators. I think they're like, stop doing freaking advertising and I hate the term viral, but at least come up with an idea that has some viral intent, so that you're executing. Just have it as part of your consideration to be something that has some viral potential. Don't get around saying this is my viral video because people just laugh in your face.
I know, that's illegal. That term is illegal now. That's cool. So, I mean, part of what you're saying there about you have to spend money, I think this is part of the fear that people have, is that they go, well, video's really expensive, and then they forget to have a distribution plan. And you go, well, video doesn't have to be expensive. Like, here we are making a video right now with a screen recording and an audio being recorded on my phone here. It doesn't have to be expensive, but you have to have a distribution network. So we have a distribution network because we spent 4 years building one. And so I think that's a key thing, is that I want people to lower their fear of it's going to cost heaps. What's the ROI going to be? I need to click I need to track all the clicks. I need to all that stuff. I want people to go, I can produce okay, but I have to think about distribution. I can't just put it on YouTube and hope for the best, which is what so many people do. And then it just sits there and gets 127 views, which I think is okay, and it can be if those are 127 buyers and 80 of them buy electric bikes. That's awesome. But usually your conversion rate is like this, so you need 10,000 people for it to convert round to maybe 100 people actually buy your thing at the end, because there's a lot of people who just watch videos. So what is something that you could say around ad spend that could take out some of that fear of someone's production costs not coming through to an ROI?
Yeah, targeting. Like, that's what you really need to get your head around, right? And that is the massive advantage of these massive global platforms like Facebook. And, just to speak quickly to that cost of content, like, as you say, it doesn't have to be expensive anymore. What I talk about a lot is that, in this world where video content becomes sort of ubiquitous, then it's the great content that will stand out, right? And it's the high quality content, but that doesn't necessarily mean production value. And I think people get caught up in production value as opposed to quality content. This feels like a good quality yarn. Zero production value, webcam to webcam, right? Hopefully someone gets some value from it. I reckon they will. But it hasn't cost anything. So then when you get to the point where you've produced it and been smart around how you produce it, and you get to the distribution strategy, there's a couple of things. It's not just about that one piece of content, because you're not just doing this once. This isn't the only yarn you're having like this. You're doing a series around it. You're building anticipation for who you're going to have next week. You know it's going to be delivered consistently. It's going to be delivered consistently on this day. So, the second part is like actually distribution, but it's distribution of the content that you have as part of the content strategy, right? But you need a content strategy, because one video does not a content strategy make, right? So you got to have a content strategy. Then you got to target, and then so to get back to the original thing, I was saying that Facebook is a platform. You can produce content cheaply, and then produce that content in a manner that allows you to rapidly iterate on it. Like Whipster is one of them, right? To rapidly iterate on that content. Then you have the ability through platforms like Facebook to really micro-target audiences. Don't bust your nuts straight away and go, hey, I want all these businesses in Denver, all these people in Denver that are interested in weight training for my CrossFit gym. And you're just going to blow your cash, right? Get down to the level of interest and test multiple levels of interest. Create target groups. If you're going to have a commitment to producing video content, equally you need to have a commitment to identifying who the customer is, targeting and testing. And the great ability that you have when you produce content so cheaply, so you don't have to produce one video. You can make 100 versions of a video, just actually really quickly. Forget A/B testing, right? Give me A, B, C, D, L, and P. Give me the whole alphabet testing all at once, with the ability to be able to see how these pieces of content operating at a micro level, tweak them up, get them optimized. Then once you know that, bang, roll that thing out with a bit more budget, whatever a bit more budget means to you. But it gives you the ability to go to test, refine, do it quickly, do it cheaply, and then go big on the things that are that you know that you have the greatest amount of potential to succeed at because you tested it at that level. Why would you just shotgun, just throw your money at the wall and make mistakes?
I think people do that because they think it's unbelievably difficult. So the easy thing is just go one spend and just go, well, this should get some people, but not so willing to just go and do the hard work, because it is just hard work. Like distribution is hard work. Go and figure out the exact persona of the person. Go and figure out how many. There might only be 150 of them, but if they all watch the video and 80 of them buy it, again, you've nailed it. You don't need 1 million people to just get that 100 people.
And the testing is fun, man, right? Fooling around with all your audiences and setting up those audience groups and targeting groups is actually really fun. But it's just an understanding of, if it's for small businesses, and part of the reason why they only focus on the first bit of getting it done is that they're so busy. You know what I mean? All business owners have to do everything. And that's why they need to use tools that make that process as simple as possible. But they're so busy. But what they need to understand at the beginning, it's never just going to be about making a video. It's always going to be about having a video strategy if we want to get any return on investment long term. Part of that is having a distribution strategy. Part of that is understanding how you're going to do paid. Also, though, how you're going to do owned. What's it going to mean on your own social channel, on your own platform, and on your own social channel. So you should think about all of those things first, right? If you can nail that whole thing and have a commitment to that approach, then I think the people that do that are the people that are going to win that video, particularly for small business. Brand's different deal, right? So much money, so much resource. But small businesses, if they can understand that whole process, I think the guys that nail it from that will win, and we'll see great results.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just one thing on the front of that's right, content production. So on content production, how much of it is built or produced in-house, and how much of it is outsourced?
For us?
Yeah.
Like most of it's in-house. We collaborate with externals on projects where it's probably above our production capability. So we did a massive VR project in London. We shot that a month ago. We have no VR production capability. But we also didn't prescribe to the normal way of getting that done, right? We found like a director that we loved on Vimeo. We reached out to him, did stuff with him. We got our CEO involved. He wrote a script, then other people got involved. I think that's the dope part of this world we live in right now. It's like you can engage any creative. But so, like on those big projects, we'll hang out with other folk and do videos with them. But other than that, like I'm going to say 90% more what we do in terms of video is in-house. That's awesome. And just remind the audience how big Xero is in terms of employees and how many of those people are working on video. So 1,600 odd around the world right now. Our internal creative agency that we have here, so we do all our creative in-house as much as we can. I think it's about 66 right now. Right. In the internal agency, and it's like 22 of those people are on my team committed to producing content. Wowzers. So that's global team though. That's like it's a big global team. We're a global brand, so it's not just NZ or AU or US or Asia or UK. It's all the whole damn thing. And so for companies trying to think about moving away from external agencies a little bit, instead of just going, we produce bikes, our agency will take care of it. For them to move that mindset away, what do you think is the first few baby steps for them to think, okay, we're now a content company, we want to own our story, we want to do it more inside so that we're saying our own stuff, not always outsourcing it. What are a few baby steps for these companies? First baby step is to think about people, because people tell stories, and where your storyteller is going to be inside of your organization. And if you're taking baby steps, you probably want that person is going to be producing the content for you. There's going to be your creator inside of your business to be as multifaceted as possible, right? That they can write, that they can shoot, that they can edit, that they can interview, that they can sort of do it all end to end. I think that's the first thing. If you're starting small, that's probably the first hire that you want to make. That's certainly the first thing that I would look at. And then I think, beyond that, another baby step that you should do. I mean, it really is all about those people at the beginning, right? And I think if they have, the creators have a group of collaborators around them that are also committed to bringing your story to life inside of your organization, marketer, a PR comms person, and, the storyteller and the creator, who's also a creative and a storyteller, can get together and really, be the force of nature for, evolving and sharing and spreading that mindset, that approach inside of the business. Then I think that's the first step that you can make. And I think after that, it's like, what are the steps that, what are those small goals that you can win at to get traction internally fast, right? Because inside of an organization, once they hear you got video capability inside your organization, you start getting briefs from everywhere.
Everyone wants a piece, yeah.
Everyone wants a video, man. A video is an answer to all things and nothing, kind of, right? Because if you get it wrong, it's just a waste of time. But if you get it right, then it can be awesome. So everybody wants the awesome, but they want the awesome without the work. And in the two-person team, they're going to get you there. Yeah. So it's kind of picking those small strategic wins, I think, that can be highly visible inside of the organization to gain more momentum and to gain more traction for whatever your vision is. Because for a period of time, a small 1-2 person team, it's going to get you so far, right? So it's really, while you're implementing that team, to understand what your vision is, short, medium, long term for that inside of your business, and what those wins can be to prove that this is going to be a valuable resource inside of the company, to get some positive banter and chit-chat going on around the water cooler as much as possible. So it really becomes a lot about owning the narrative of your content creation resource in-house, and how people talk about it in-house. Because a lot of those wins will be internal ones first, right? You're getting an internal video guy and you're asking him to make a brand commercial, whatever that is, like, don't do that.
That's going to be tough. Yeah, it's a tough sell. So what about that early content schedule? What is that company? It's ground zero. They're thinking we need to be a content company or a media company. What are they thinking as their first strategy?
Yeah, I think it comes down to where you can win, man. Because I think so many attempts at developing internal resource die. They die early because it just becomes a time, money, resource suck with people that are being overindulgent with the stories that they want to tell that result in, they don't apply all that stuff that we just talked about before this. And they sort of throw that all out the window and they say, start again, I know better, I'm just going to go on my gut. I'm going to riff, we're going to they start doing all that type of thing. And I think that's the worst mistake you could make. But you need to be there's not an easy answer to that question, right? It's just find out. Most people are going to think about it as marketing, right? I want to use video for marketing. That's probably the toughest egg to crack quick, because in doing that, you're subscribing yourself to this ROI model that, immediately marketers, managers are going to want to know what's our return on this. And if you're just getting new into the space, you don't have a sophisticated attribution model, then you're sort of setting yourself up to fail. So then you really want to operate in that top mindshare space that we talked about, like how do we solve the bigger problems for our customers, and sort of work where maybe at that brand attribution, tone of voice type of level, where you're part of the mix, but the whole ROI and attribution model is not being stacked up against you as it comes down to equate what it means for conversion. So I would personally, if I was going to play in marketing, just find the smallest little vertical niche that I can win in terms of sentiment from customers that it touches. Just set up all those metrics that you're going to measure against to be as compelling and as soft as possible. Mm-hmm. Initially, right? And that, I guess that sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but video is an emotive thing before anything else, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure everybody that's produced content with their customers or that's featured people, there is this exchange that goes on between your brand, your company, and the person you're creating content with. And if you do it well, it forms this unreasonable emotional bond for a period of time where they see, you grew up watching TV, right? Everybody kind of had a dream that, one day I'll be on TV. Or if your cousin got on TV, you're like, yo, it's Romo, it's on TV. And it's like an amazing thing. And that's kind of translated over to this video world. If you see yourself in a video, if someone sees you in a video, it kind of has that emotional and resonance of like someone saw you on TV. That's what it's like these days. So, when you do that and you engage with a customer and you're looking for those soft metrics, if you do a really good job, then a lot of those will come to the fore. That's the stuff that you want to amplify internally that will get you to the point where you can build a team that can go after some of the harder metrics inside of the business, right? And so it's that case of building your internal resource against a set of metrics that are meaningful to the business but aren't hardcore related to conversion initially, while you build that momentum and resource and validate and get yourself to a point where then you can go after meteor stuff, meteor projects. And I think that's you walk into a lot of organizations that has internal capability, and sometimes it's a little bit out of order. It's kind of people going off doing their own thing. They're not focused on just winning at that one thing, because video means so much to so many people inside of the organization. And I think just focus on those small wins that you can get the traction in, to build the basis, to build your team, to build your resource, to build your expertise. That's the other thing, right? Because you can only produce to a level of the capability that you have inside of your team. So if your team are graduates fresh out of school, they probably aren't going to be able to produce anything to a level of business content. Certainly for personal content, they'll be all over it. For business content, the on-brand, on-message, all of those things, for a little while, until they build up their sophistication of the storytelling, the nuance of visual storytelling, all those types of things. So you need to build them up to that level. I think that the level of content that our team at Xero putting out now is a result of years of investment in people, years of investment in that people-led process.
Yeah, nice one, man. All right, well, I think we've done about half an hour, or 40 minutes. Jesus, we've done it. Powerful stuff. All right, thanks a lot. See you later.